Tech giant Elon Musk has said artificial intelligence could be the most pressing risk to the human race ahead of Rishi Sunak's visit to the AI Safety Summit in Bletchley Park later.
So what is the government doing about it? Science and Technology Secretary Michelle Donnellan joins us now from that summit. Good morning to you. So there's been a lot of talk about the concerns, the potential threats from AI. Is Elon Musk right on this one, that AI could wipe out humanity?
So there are big potential risks when it comes to AI. Just last week, we were the first government in the world to publish papers articulating the debate around how, when and if some of those real existential threats could potentially happen. What we're saying as a government is we want to do the responsible thing, not take anything to chance, grip these risks so that we can also unlock the amazing opportunities. We all know that AI is already working across our NHS and our transport network and our public services. So, for instance, it's being used to detect breast cancer earlier, heart disease earlier, and this is just really scratching the surface of what is possible. But if we're going to lean into these opportunities and access them, we also have to grip the risks, not just domestically, but internationally, which is why we're convening the world for the first time here at Bletchley Park. Countries and the leading companies in the area, but also academics, scientists and experts from across the globe.
No, you've spoken about the risk to jobs. You know, the people are obviously worried about how this could affect their jobs on a day-to-day basis, and you've sort of said it will change the job market. Jobs will go, but, you know, that will create new opportunities at the same time. But there are those people who are saying you're downplaying that actually there are real concerns about how this is going to impact on people's jobs. Jobs will be lost, what that will then mean for the economy as a consequence when those people have to be supported.
So what I've said on this is that we actually need to change the conversation, because what AI will enable us to do is have more time in the bits of our jobs that we were actually trained to do, as opposed to the administration and the bureaucracy. If you take doctors, for instance, I was reading a report the other day that was saying that for every 10 minutes a doctor spends with a patient, that takes about 20 minutes in paperwork. If you look at in our schools, if you talk to teachers, they will tell you that they're desperately wanting to do less paperwork and administration and have more time with pupils, which is why we made an announcement this week of funding to assist them with AI, to reduce some of that administration and bureaucracy. So AI is, as the Prime Minister called it last week, also a co-pilot. It will also create new jobs as well. If you look at the study that MIT did, they said that in 1940, 60% of the jobs today didn't exist. So technology does always change the way we work, but it also creates new jobs. And what we have to have is the education system to support that. We've announced the Advanced British Standard, which will ensure that the next generation learn English and maths to a later age, to 18, and they get a broader base of subjects. We've also announced LLE, the lifelong loan entitlement, that will come in 2025, allowing individuals to study at degree level at a modularised fashion throughout their life, so that they can reskill and upskill. And we have initiatives like boot camps, etc.
OK. One of the things, we had Professor Stuart Russell on this morning. He's Professor of Computer Science at UC Berkeley, known for his research into AI. And he was there at the summit yesterday. One of the things that he was saying, it's brilliant that we're at the forefront of this summit and that the UK is leading the charge in what is going on with AI. But there is concerns that he suggests that it's utterly reckless to pursue ever more powerful AI systems before knowing how to make them safe. There are more regulations on sandwich shops than there are on AI companies. One of his major concerns was that the government is very strict with these big tech companies and sets out the regulatory authority and the red lines with regards to how AI is being used, because we just don't know. We don't want to get 10 years down the line and go, goodness me, we should have controlled this better. Can you reassure everybody today that the government is really working hard to make sure those regulations are in place, to make sure that the AI that is used and explored in all these ways that you're saying has so much potential, but will be done in a way that will protect us as a community and as in a society?
Yeah, that's why we are investing more than any other country in the world in AI safety. There are regulations in place. We have multiple regulators. We produced a white paper earlier this year which said all the regulators have to work to the same principles on this area, so including safety and transparency. And we'll be coming back to that white paper later in the year. We've also got our task force that we've announced will become an institute And what that will do is not only research, because there isn't enough understanding around the risks, because this is an emerging technology and it's emerging quickly, but also it will evaluate the model. So it'll do a third-party check by the government to ensure the safety. And we've been given access to these models by the companies. And we're working with partners across the globe. That's at the heart of this summit here today. And you've seen that America has also made statements this week complimenting the work that we've done around transparency and around mitigations. This is a global endeavour to grip the risks, but also to access the opportunities. And we have set up a landmark summit that is just the beginning of that journey.
OK, well, listen, more to come on that. We want to talk to you about the COVID inquiry as well. Obviously, that's ongoing. There are more and more disturbing details coming out by the day on this and what's not been happening or what has been happening. Rules not being followed in Downing Street, lies being told by ministers, costs to human life seemingly being disregarded. But I wanted to pick up on the culture that was talked about, particularly yesterday, the sexist and misogynistic culture at number 10, women being sidelined. And it seems like this was commonplace. This kind of behaviour wasn't even being challenged.
Well, I would not condone misogyny and that kind of behaviour in any workplace, let alone in number 10. What I can say is it wasn't my experience. I was a minister in the Department for Education. I never experienced any of this. And it certainly shouldn't be tolerated in any workplace.
When you saw, and I'm sure you've read some of those WhatsApp messages that Dominic Cummings sent about Helen McNamara, saying that he would like to handcuff her and escort her from Downing Street. I mean, language like that, how do you feel as a woman who's working in politics and in government and realise this was being written by somebody else who you work alongside?
So I think I am concerned about some of the revelations and the comments that are coming out here, because my biggest concern is that other women will be watching and hearing that rhetoric and deciding that maybe politics isn't for them, and they could be people that would be giving a fantastic contribution to their country.
You say concern, but does that not make... That makes me angry as a man, reading that, thinking like somebody felt that they could use that language to discuss a colleague. So clearly, with so much disregard for what those words meant, does it make you more than concerned? Does it make you angry?
Look, as I said, I don't condone misogyny in any workplace. It makes me deeply concerned or angry, if you like, around rhetoric that is not appropriate, especially as we are meant to lead by example. But as I said a moment ago, I think we should be encouraging Parliament and the ministerial team to be as diverse as possible. In fact, that's what Rishi Sunak has prioritised, making sure that he has not only the calibre of ministers, but also the representation across different groups of society. And what we want to make sure is that the next generation of politicians that come forward equally represent different parts of society. And we're not putting people off from politics, because that would be to the detriment of democracy. So I am concerned about the countless women that will be hearing this and reading these comments. And, of course, as I said before, do not condone misogyny in any workplace.
And what would your advice be to them if there's a woman who's in that sort of toxic environment? What would you say to a woman who's experiencing that kind of language, who sees that kind of behaviour? What should be happening?
Yeah. Well, I just want to clarify once again that, I didn't experience any of this, and these are individuals' reports. I'm sure that reports from other individuals will differ as well. That's the whole reason why we've got
it seems to be
an
commonplace
independent
and
inquiry to get underneath the bonnet of these topics. But, yeah.
It seemed to be...
No, I didn't say... I said my personal interaction. I never personally saw or heard this kind of language as an individual working in the...
You must have known it was going on.
I didn't see...
So no female
as I've said multiple times today now, I didn't.
OK.
Not in reference to this. It was, you're trying to paint a picture as though this was a widespread hotbed of misogyny across the whole of government. I'm telling you today that wasn't true, and that was not my experience at all. Now, some people's experiences will differ, and they will have had different interactions with different individuals. But I can assure you today that I did not experience any kind of misogyny of that kind, and I believe that it should be stamped out, not just in government, but across the board. It has no place in modern Britain or in our world.
OK, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much for joining us, Michelle Donnan.